Hi everyone, welcome back to WHU TV. It's nice to see you. I hope you're keeping well and still buzzing over the result last night of beating Arsenal 2-0 away at the Emirates. That's twice we beat them this season. We are now halfway through the season and earlier than usual, the West Ham accounts for the 22-23 season have been published. So let's talk about it. So guys, it's going to take a little while. I've tried to break it down as much as possible, giving you the salient details, but there's a few things we need to go through. But in the meantime, guys, this video is sponsored by the channel sponsor, 3retro.com. Please click the link in the description below that will take you directly through to the West Ham section of their website, where you can purchase some really nice retro gear, guys, as you can see from the icon that's up here, including some Umbro and Admiral track jackets, polo shirts, sweatshirts and t-shirts, so go check those out. Any purchases you make through the link in the description below, the commission that the channel would normally be getting, as I always say, I'll be sending on to the charity Iron Supporting Food Banks. They're based in the Newham area and they're helping those in the Newham area and the Essex County and further afield for that matter to help put food on the tables for those who've been really struggling over the last 4 to 5 years. So guys, go grab yourself a really nice retro shirt. You'll be saving yourself a few quid in comparison to the club shop and you'll be helping those less fortunate than you and I. So let's crack on with it. As I say, I'm going to try and give you as much salient details as possible. If you want to have a look at the accounts yourself, that's perfectly fine. There is a link in the description below that will take you directly to the document that we're talking about. But first of all, let's have a bit of a recap. Now, let's talk about the last 3 seasons prior to the 22-23 season. Okay, the 19-20 season, aka the COVID season, we suffered a loss of £84.7 million. The 2021 season, we suffered a loss of £77.6 million. And the 21-22 season, thank you to Kretinsky's money, we made a profit of £56.4 million, which is showing a loss over the 3 seasons of £105.9 million. Now, we'll come back to that, obviously, because that's still quite important information. That's just tinkering over the threshold of why Everton got their fine. Okay, and one of the reasons why David Sullivan has been hiding behind the financial fair play rule, which I will come on to in a little while. But let's talk about the directors of the club first and foremost. At page 3, it states David Sullivan, Daniel Kretinsky, David Gold, deceased, Baroness Brady, Vanessa Gold, appointed the 7th of August 2023. Andy Mollett, who does the signs off the accounts. Daniel Harris, J. Albert Smith, aka Trip Smith. Daniel Cunningham, Jack Sullivan, David K.E. Sullivan, aka David Sullivan Jr. Pavel Horsky, who resigned on the 25th of August 2022, and Jiri Savari, who was appointed on the same day. So let's now go to the next page. There's a few little bits and pieces here, and I'm not going to bore you with everything. I'm just going to talk about the highlights. It says the review of the year 2023 began with the deeply sad passing of our beloved joint chairman David Gold, who died on the 4th of January following a short illness. A lifelong and ardent West Ham fan, David Gold was in Stepney in September 1936. Sorry, I should say he was born in Stepney in September 1936 and grew up at 442 Green Street, directly opposite the ground. As a promising young schoolboy player, he represented the club's boys team and later appeared at the youth team after turning 16. Yada 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 yada. It goes on to give you his background, as we all know. This has been an unforgettable season, as we enjoyed winning the club's first trophy in 43 years with a victory in Prague on the 7th of June 23 in the UEFA Europa Conference League final, which more than compensated for a challenging Premier League campaign. No shit, Sherlock. The club once again made the strategic decision to provide funds in line with the requirements of the men's first team manager to significantly enhance the squad during the 22-23 summer and winter transfer windows, with the new additions to the squad costing £184 million, increasing the total net book value of the men's first team players to £219 million. As that was how much the squad's cost at the start of the 22-23 season. Well, aka when those windows closed. The strategy proved to be successful as we were able to secure our core aim of maintaining our Premier League status for a 12th consecutive season, which is the longest period the club has remained in the Premier League since its inception in 1992. If anybody follows the social media social media account on Twitter, I tweeted Alan Sugar. I tweeted Alan Shearer about his comments about West Ham. Not happy. He hasn't responded to it yet. I don't intend him to, but I was not happy. A lot of us weren't happy, but I'll come on to that another time. In line with our objective to progress and be challenging for Europe consistently, we achieved the qualification for the Europa League group stages due to our success in the UEFA Europa Conference League, and will be playing in European competition for a third consecutive season for the first time in the club's history. Turnover is at £236.7 million, was 16.0 million lower than last year, mainly due to the position in the Premier League, finishing 14th versus finishing 7th, and lower European income, despite winning the competition due to the relative values of UEFA Conference League and Europa Leagues. Broadcasting revenue of £147.6 million from the 21-22 season, which was 163.6, so we lost money in that, guys, as well. This year includes all the Europa Conference League income except for the final, which has occurred after the financial year. So that will be included in this current season's books, so keep an eye out for that. The positional fee awarded for finishing 14th in the Premier League and facility fees for having been selected for the 21 live Premier League matches. Last year's broadcasting income included the income from our Europa League games and the recognition of facility income for 23 live matches and the positional fee of finishing 7th in the Premier League. So basically, less money for finishing in the league and less money due to Europa Conference League. Basically, that's what it's saying in a nutshell. Match income was £41.0 million. It is marginally 0.3 lower than this year, reflecting the lower crowds in Europa Conference League, aka we didn't turn up enough, which has been discussed on quite a many occasions. Not necessarily on this channel, but I know other people have talked about it. Commercial income of 35.1 is marginally higher than last year by 0.4 due to slightly improved partnership income. £400,000 is crap for an increase in sponsorship deals. It's pathetic. Retail income at £13 million is the same as last year. The primary reasons for the change from a profit of £10.5 million to the net loss for the year of £17.1 million are due to the decrease in turnover, largely explained by the Premier League position, contrasting revenues between the Europa League and the Conference League, along with higher amortisation, aka payments for players on contract instalments, resulting from the increased playing squad following last summer's investments in new players, partially offset by higher profit of disposable players. Well, if it's last summer, it's not really relevant to this content because this is about the 22-23 season, not the 23-24 season. They like to mix this in quite a fair bit. It's not. I don't know how this gets signed off by PwC. You've been doing the accounts for about 12 years. It's not relevant. It said in addition, this financial results have been impacted by a significant increase in implied interest on transfer fee payable with extended payment terms. This has driven a combination of significant investment in the playing squad during the year, the significant value of transfer fees payable with extended payment terms, the current high level of interest rates, and the requirement to discount such payments to present value upon initial recognition. The effect of this is a net charge to this year's accounts of £4.8 million, resulting from an implied interest expense of £11.6 million, partially offset by a reduction to the annual amortisation of £6.8 million compared to the transfer. Blah blah blah. It tries to confuse you. It really does. It's just waffling for a lot of stuff. The club continues to optimise its funding, and as a result, took the decision to repay the outstanding £55 million owed to MSD facility, which was paid in August 23. The club entered into a new £40 million overdraft facility with Barclays Bank on the 29th of August and has accelerated a future transfer fee receivable. So basically, we've got a bit of a buffer. And it's going to come in handy, guys, trust me. Then jumping over a few paragraphs, the club continues to make a hugely positive impact across our community alongside the West Ham United Foundation, which is based in Beckton in the London Borough of Newham, panning all ages and abilities, harnessing the power of football to maximise life chances. There, so there's a lot of self-flagellation going into this as well, for that matter. So where are we? So let's jump to bottom of page 7. The club's strong relationship with the manager will continue to assist in building and improving the squad. The loyalty displayed by the club's fan base, indicated by the exceptionally high level for the 23-24 season, even high level of season tickets that should be, even following the increased capacity to 62,500, gives us one of the highest number of season ticket holders in London and in the Premier League, putting the club in a better position as we move forward. Our ticket exchange grew, and we saw an average of 3,682 resales in the period, and an increase of 90% on year on year, and is set to continue to grow along with the growth seen in all areas across general admission and corporate sales, showing the demand continues, which points to a brighter future. The club continues to explore every opportunity offering to meet demand, and was proud to welcome one of the highest turnouts to the London Stadium. Our global focus has seen our global footprint, blah, 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 blah. 18 million followers across social media platforms, and has regularly been one of the most highest engaged in the Premier League. Okay, so that's enough of that waffle. Now goes to the group. Places surplus cash with a credit-worthy institution. The group performs ongoing credit evaluation to the debtor's financial condition. The carrying amounts of cash and trade and other debtors represent the maximum credit risk to the group, which is exposed. I mean, if you're an accountant, you get that, but it's just basically saying we're lending with a decent company now. The base forecast has been preparing, assuming the club remains in the Premier League for the 24-25 season. This is, don't worry, guys, this is in every single account. The forecast assumes no further player trading, reasonable progression in Europe, revenues received in line with current commercial agreements, and other revenues in line with the historical achievement. In August 23, the group repaid in full the long-term financing, as we talked about, blah, 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 blah. The group has agreed a new overdraft facility with Barclays, blah, 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 blah. The Barclays facility, blah, 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 blah. This is assumed to be either extended on a season-by-season basis or a similar facility entered into the 24-25 season. So again, half of this stuff, rhetoric, repeated, and not relevant. Which is what happens in West Ham. Now, the long-term consequences. We continue to invest substantial funds into the playing squad in order to maximise the best possible chances of achieving success from the football pitch. The group's adherence to UEFA and Premier League financial play rules ensures sustainable, responsible, and transparent spending. Blah blah blah. Then it goes on about employees. Fans are the lifeblood of our club. The copy and pasted from last season, the season before, I should say, counts. And are always foremost in our decision making. We are proud to have an ever increasing number of supporters clubs around the world. The club meets regularly with supporters groups to discuss key issues affecting fans. Do they though? Do they though? Now, this is a bit more to give some context here, guys, okay? League position, finishing 14th. FA Cup, 5th round. League Cup, 3rd round. Europa League, blank. UEFA Conference League, winners. Average league gate, 62,459 people. Told you it was never sold out. They try and make it to be, but it's not in any shape or form. Granted, that's including all the cup games, including league and European. Wage turnover ratio 57.8, which is 4.1% higher than the 21-22 season. An operating profit of £52.4 million for the 22-23 season, which is down just under £18 million on the previous season. All right, so let's get into the more of the bare bones of stuff. So this going into a bit more detail. Amortization of cost player registrations, aka how much it costs to do spread out by the players. £65.3 million. A 1.1 million increase in stocks. A 1.8 million decrease in debtors, and a £24.6 million decrease in creditors. A net cash flow inform operating activities, £26.9 million as a result, as in comparison to £70.9 million for the 21-22 season. So basically, what we're looking at here, guys, is the crux of it is that the club has made a loss of £20.4 million according to these. There was a £40.8 million profit in the as of June 22. As of the 31st of May 23, £20.4 million loss, which basically means you add that to the £105.9 million loss we made in the 3 seasons prior. So as of the 22-23 season, the records are showing in total over those 4 seasons we've made a loss of £126.3 million. Now this is before the Declan Rice money. This is before the Skamaka money, etc., etc. Okay, but it does show that unfortunately, sorry if you heard that, it was a bit of a PC glitch there. It does show, unfortunately, that West Ham are in quite a shit state. And yeah, over 4 seasons, we've only been able to incur a profit because of, and that's down to Daniel Kretinsky's money. So it's not great in any shape or form. But I think one of the reasons why this accounts have been published now, literally 3 days before the January transfer window opens, is because they're preparing us for a very quiet January transfer window. So guys, thank you very much for sticking around for the length of time that's taken to do. I might edit this down a little bit, but yeah, no, I'll just leave it like it's a normal video. But yeah, we're gonna have a quiet January by the looks of it. David Moyes has hinted at that. Of course, that's before any sales of players. But yeah, so hopefully we'll see what happens at the end of this season. Around about this time next year. You know, normally when they're released in December, or the early January, it means that they're a good accounts. But it's not. It's a loss. Again, unfortunately. So we've got to remember this, guys, going into the January transfer window. It's not me. This is basically, you can say there's a link in the description. You can see the report of everything. It's great that the club have purchased all the turnover and all the rest of it. But if you go into the crooks and details, we're in shit. We really are. But put your comments in the comment section below, as always, guys, and thank you very much for sticking around. I'm now going to do a January transfer window video on the back. And try and sort something out for it. You know, give my opinions on it, of what, because I know what we need, and I know what we don't need. I know what we need to spend. Will that happen in January? We'll find out by this time next month. In the meantime, guys, look after yourselves. Thank you very much for sticking around. Take care, and I'll see you very soon. All the best now.